Black Myth Wukong is a game that has been on the radar of many gamers since its first jaw-dropping trailer was released back in 2020. With its stunning visuals and promise of an epic, action-packed journey through a gritty interpretation of the classic novel Journey to the West, it quickly became one of the most anticipated titles in recent memory. And I am very happy to say that my wondrous 55-ish hour journey to see everything that this varied and enthralling world has to offer was only occasionally interrupted with minor technical issues and fleeting daydreams of what Chinese developer Game Science will be capable of after such an amazing debut. Black Myth Wukong is deeply rooted in one of the most enduring and celebrated works of Chinese literature, Journey to the West. This 16th century novel by Wu Cheng chronicles the epic pilgrimage of the monk Zhao Shang, who travels to India in search of sacred scriptures, accompanied by three supernatural disciples, Sun Wukong, the Monkey King, Zhu Baji, Pixie, and Sha Wujing, Sandy. The novel combines elements of mythology, folklore, religion, and satire, creating a rich yet playful narrative tapestry that has inspired countless adaptations across various media. Sun Wukong, the Monkey King, is the most iconic character in Journey to the West. He is a somewhat complex figure, embodying both the mischievousness of a trickster and the discipline of a devoted monk. His backstory, filled with rebellion against the heavens, magical abilities, and eventual redemption, serves as a powerful narrative arc that resonates through the ages. Journey to the West is not just a story of physical travel, but also one of spiritual enlightenment, with each character representing different aspects of the human experience. The novel's blend of adventure, supernatural battles, and philosophical musing provides a fertile ground for video game adaptation, and Black Myth Wukong brings the classic tale to a new generation, and for the first time through an interactive medium. In adapting Journey to the West, Black Myth Wukong takes creative liberties while maintaining the core essence of the original story. The game reimagines the journey of Sun Wukong, focusing on his struggles, battles, and evolution as a character. This is not a straightforward retelling of the novel, but rather a darker, more mature interpretation that aligns with modern gaming sensibilities. The world of Black Myth Wukong is a gritty and atmospheric depiction of ancient China, filled with mythical creatures, hostile environments, and larger-than-life adversaries. The game captures the grandeur and mysticism of the original texts, while infusing it with a sense of foreboding that permeates every corner of its world. This tonal shift from the novel's more whimsical and satirical elements to a darker, more introspective narrative allows the game to explore deeper themes. The developers have crafted the game's setting to reflect the vast and varied landscapes described in the novel. From the towering peaks of the Flower Fruit Mountain to the eerie depths of demonic lairs, each location in Black Myth Wukong is steeped in rich lore of the source material. This game also introduces new characters and storylines that, while not present in the original text, fit seamlessly into the world of Journey to the West, adding layers of complexity to the narrative and environmental storytelling. In terms of narrative structure, Black Myth Wukong follows a chapter-based progression, similar to the episodic nature of the original novel. Each chapter introduces new challenges, characters, enemies, and revelations, slowly unraveling the story that kept me somewhat engaged, which I will expand upon in a minute. The game also follows a non-linear approach to storytelling, allowing for exploration and discovery, encouraging players to delve into the lore and uncover the secrets hidden within the world. The adaptation also respects the novel's spiritual and philosophical undertones, incorporating elements of Buddhism and Taoism into the game's themes and mechanics. The trials and tribulations that Sun Wukong faces in the game are not just physical challenges, but also tests of his character and morality, echoing the spiritual journey depicted in the novel. Overall, Black Myth: Wukong successfully bridges the gap between traditional literature and modern gaming, offering a fresh take on a beloved classic while staying true to the spirit of the original story. It's a game that invites both fans of Journey to the West and newcomers alike to experience the epic tale of Sun Wukong in a way that is both familiar and innovative. Despite its world absolutely dripping with inspiration from the original tale, unfortunately, however, I do feel that I could have been more immersed by the plot of Wukong if the mythology of the story was better introduced in order to set the tone for things to come, if the side characters were properly developed, although it's apparent that a huge amount of effort has gone into the creation, and due to a general lack of lore not contained within abstract riddles to provide a bit more depth and substance. One of the more interesting development choices for Black Myth: Wukong is the decision to forego a traditional map or objective marker system, a choice that undoubtedly adds to the game's difficulty. Players must rely on environmental cues and memory to navigate the world, which can lead to confusion, especially in more complex maze-like areas. While this design choice may appeal to hardcore players who enjoy the challenge of mastering their surroundings, it can be frustrating for those who prefer a more guided experience. Further, the total absence of any kind of map often left me wandering aimlessly, searching for the correct path forward, which did disrupt the game's pacing and detract from the overall enjoyment. The lack of navigation tools also affect how players approach exploration. Without a map, every journey through the game's world becomes an exercise of trial and error. This can lead to moments of genuine discovery, stumbling upon hidden areas or secrets they might have missed with map in hand. However, it also means that players are more likely to miss out on content simply because they couldn't find it, leading to a sense of incompleteness that can be unsatisfying. Adding to the frustration of navigating Black Myth: Wukong are the invisible walls that are peppered in the game's environment. These barriers, which prevent players from accessing areas that appear to be within reach, can be jarring and immersion breaking. In a game that prides itself on its open-ended exploration and intricate level design, invisible walls feel like an artificial restriction that limits the player's freedom. They can also make the world feel less cohesive, as players are constantly reminded of the game's boundaries in a way that detracts from the overall sense of immersion. The presence of invisible walls also complicates the already challenging task of navigation, where players may find themselves trying to reach areas that seem accessible only to be blocked by an invisible barrier, forcing them to backtrack and search for an alternative route. This can lead to a lot of wasted time and unnecessary frustration, particularly in the more open areas where the lack of a map makes it difficult to determine the correct path. Despite the challenges associated with exploration, Wukong offers a wealth of collectibles that reward players for their persistence. These collectibles range from upgrades for materials and consumables to more esoteric items that unlock new abilities or enhance the player's understanding of the game's lore. The thrill of discovering these hidden treasures can provide a strong incentive to explore every nook and cranny of the game world. Collectibles in Black Myth: Wukong are often well hidden, requiring players to thoroughly search the environment and pay close attention to details. Some are tucked away in hard-to-reach areas, while others are guarded by more powerful enemies that must be defeated to claim your prize. The game's emphasis on exploration and discovery makes finding these items feel rewarding, as each one represents a tangible benefit that can aid the player in their journey. The diversity of collectibles also adds depth to the exploration experience. Players can find items that enhance their combat abilities, such as new spells or upgrades for their staff, as well as items that provide lore snippets, offering insight into the game's story and world. This variety ensures that exploration remains engaging throughout the game, as players are constantly rewarded for their curiosity and determination. In summary, while Black Myth Wukong's exploration is hampered by the lack of a map and the presence of invisible walls, the game compensates with a rich array of collectibles that encourages players to delve deeper into its world. The satisfaction of uncovering hidden treasures and unlocking new abilities makes the challenge of exploration worthwhile, even if the journey can be frustrating at times. Combat is arguably the most important aspect of any action game, and Black Myth Wukong delivers a mixed experience in this regard. Wukong has been compared to Souls-like titles due to its challenging boss fights and stamina-based combat system, however lacks most of the remaining mechanics. Players must carefully manage their attacks, dodges and spell usage to survive against tough enemies. When everything clicks, combat can feel like a beautiful choreographed dance, with players dodging, countering and unleashing powerful spells in fluid sequence. However, the combat can feel repetitive and frustrating, especially during the more difficult boss encounters, and the lack of weapon variety does somewhat detract from the overall experience, making combat feel less satisfying than it should. At its core though, the combat system in Black Myth Wukong revolves around mastering the use of your staff and leveraging a variety of spells and skills to overcome your enemies. The staff, being your primary weapon, is versatile, capable of delivering both light and heavy attacks. Light attacks are quick and allow for chaining combos, while heavy attacks are slower but deal significantly more damage and can break through enemy defenses. Timing here is crucial, as poorly timed heavy attacks can leave you vulnerable, especially in the face of the game's more challenging foes. Dodging and parrying are essential components of the combat system, requiring you to carefully manage your stamina, and this system is reminiscent of Souls-like titles, where every action, whether it's attacking, dodging or blocking, consumes it. This means you need to be mindful of your stamina levels, as running out at a critical moment can lead to a quick death. The game also incorporates a focus meter, which fills up as you engage in combat. Once full, it allows you to unleash a powerful focus attack that can turn the tide of battle, especially during boss encounters. These attacks vary depending on the stance you have chosen, adding another layer of strategy to combat. As you progress through the game, you unlock different stances, each offering a unique set of moves and abilities. These stances can be switched between on the fly, allowing you to adapt to different combat situations. For instance, one stance might focus on quick agile movements and dodges, while another emphasizes raw power and heavy strikes. The ability to switch between stances adds a dynamic element to combat, encouraging you to experiment with different combinations to find what works best against specific enemy types. Customization in combat extends to spells and skills, which you choose to equip. Spells play a significant role in combat, offering a range of offense, defense, and utility options. Some spells can immobilize enemies, giving you a window to launch a powerful attack, while others can summon clones or transform you into a previously defeated enemy, complete with their moveset. The strategic use of spells is often the key to victory in tougher battles, as they can provide critical advantages such as creating distance between you and a powerful foe or stunning an enemy just before they unleash a devastating attack. Boss battles are where Black Myth Wukong truly shines, providing some of the most intense and memorable encounters in the game. These battles are designed to test your mastery of the combat systems, often requiring precise timing, quick reflexes, and a deep understanding of enemy patterns. Each boss has its own unique set of moves, phases, and weaknesses, which you'll need to learn through experimentation or repeated attempts. The difficulty of these encounters can vary significantly. Some bosses are designed to push even seasoned players to their limits, requiring near-perfect execution of your combat skills. Others, on the other hand, particularly the mini-bosses scattered throughout the game's world, are more manageable, allowing you to practice and refine your abilities. However, the game's lack of difficulty options means that less experienced players might find themselves frustrated by some of the more challenging encounters, as there is no way to lower the difficulty if you're struggling. Despite the moderate to high difficulty, the boss battles are well designed and rewarding, and successfully defeating a challenging boss provides a sense of accomplishment that is reminiscent of overcoming obstacles in games like Dark Souls or Sekiro. However, not all boss battles hit the mark, with some feeling repetitive or underwhelming, particularly at times when the game recycles certain boss designs. While combat in Black Myth: Wukong is generally well executed, it's not without its flaws. During my playthrough, I did experience some technical issues, such as input lag and occasional stuttering, that can disrupt the flow of combat, especially during intense encounters where split-second decisions are crucial. These issues were particularly noticeable when using certain spells or summoning spirits, as the game sometimes struggles to keep up with the action on screen. This can lead to frustrating moments where a mistimed dodge or unresponsive input results in untimely death. Additionally, even though you are reliant on a single weapon, the different stances and spells provide some welcome variety. However, the lack of other weapon types does mean that you're often limited in how you approach combat. This can lead to a sense of monotony over time, and is especially prevalent during longer play sessions. Overall, combat in Black Myth: Wukong is a mixed bag. On one hand, it offers a deep and rewarding system that encourages mastery and rewards careful planning and execution. The unique stances system and the variety of spells add depth and flexibility to combat, allowing you to approach battles in different ways. On the other hand, the game's reliance on a single weapon, combined with technical issues and occasional repetition, can detract from the overall experience. If you're a fan of challenging combat systems and enjoy the process of learning and mastering difficult encounters, Black Myth: Wukong's combat will likely appeal to you. However, if you're looking for a more RPG-heavy type of system, or a more varied or accessible combat experience, you may find the game's combat system to be somewhat limiting. While Black Myth: Wukong does offer a solid foundation for RPG mechanics, it doesn't quite reach the heights of more complex RPG systems found in other games. The character progression, equipment, spells, and skills all contribute to a deep and engaging experience, but they are all held back by some design choices that limit player freedom. If you enjoy a game that emphasizes mastery of a single weapon and more focused approach to character development, you'll find a lot to appreciate here. However, if you prefer a broader range of customization options and more freedom in how you build your character, Black Myth: Wukong might leave you wanting for more. Here, character progression is mainly driven through a skill tree system, which allows players to enhance their abilities and tailor their playstyle. As you defeat enemies and complete quests, you earn experience points or sparks that can be invested in various abilities. Each stance offers a different set of abilities, focusing on either offensive power or defensive capabilities or utility skills. This progression system encourages players to experiment with different builds, although the overall lack of weapon variety is still a limiting factor. To this effect, the progression system feels more like fine-tuning Wukong's capabilities, rather than radically transforming how you approach the game. One unique aspect of character progression, though, is the emphasis on unlocking and upgrading spells. And these spells are integral to combat and exploration, offering a range of tactical advantages from crowd control to devastating area of effect attacks. As you progress through the game, you'll find new spells that can be equipped and upgraded, adding an additional layer of depth. However, progression can sometimes feel a bit grindy, especially when you're focused to unlock less desirable skills to access the more powerful ones. Equipment and gear play a crucial role in how you approach the challenges in Wukong. While the game limits you to the iconic staff of the Monkey King for the majority of combat, it compensates by offering a variety of armor sets and consumables that can be crafted or found throughout the game. Each armor set provides different bonuses that can enhance your defense, increase your damage output, or improve your resistance to various status effects. The crafting system also allows you to upgrade your gear, using materials gathered from enemies and the environment. Although these systems are somewhat simplistic when compared to other modern RPGs. Nonetheless, the ability to customize your armor and consumables ensures that there is still some degree of personalization available to suit different playstyles. Spells are a central component to Wukong's combat system, adding a layer of strategy and depth that helps to differentiate it from other action RPGs. Throughout your journey, you'll unlock a diverse array of spells, each with its own unique effect and tactical application. Some spells are designed for direct combat, allowing you to unleash powerful attacks or immobilize enemies, while others offers defense or utility benefits, such as creating clones or transforming into enemies to use their abilities. The spells you equip can then be upgraded to enhance their effectiveness, reduce cooldown times, or increase their mana efficiency. This upgrade system encourages experimentation, as players can tailor their spell loadout to match their preferred playstyle or to counter specific challenges. However, the game does impose some limitations on how spells can be equipped and used, which can feel restrictive. For example, certain spells can only be equipped in specific slots, limiting your ability to fully customize your abilities. Despite these restrictions, mastering the use of spells is key to overcoming some of the game's toughest encounters. Skills in Black Myth Wukong are closely tied to the stances you develop through the game, each stance offering a unique set of skills that can be unlocked and upgraded as you progress. These skills range from powerful heavy attacks to intricate defensive maneuvers, and they play a significant role in defining your combat strategy. The skill tree is designed to offer a balance between different playstyles, whether you prefer a more aggressive approach or a more cautious defensive one. One of the standout features of the skill tree is its focus on chaining moves together to create a fluid and dynamic combat sequence. For example, you might unlock a skill that allows you to follow up a heavy attack with a quick dodge, setting you up for another strike or spell cast. This interconnectedness of skills encourages players to think strategically about how they combine their abilities in combat. However, in my experience, similar to the spell system, the skills can feel a bit restrictive due to the limited number of slots available for equipping them. This means you will have to often make tough choices about which skill to prioritize, potentially sacrificing some abilities in favor of others that would be better suited with the current challenge. Despite these limitations, the skill system does add a significant amount of depth to the combat, rewarding players who take the time to master it. It's quite obvious that a huge amount of love and care has gone into the development of Black Myth Wukong, with its beautifully crafted world, intricately designed characters, and fluid animations. Coupled with an interesting setting and action-packed combat, I was quick to forget and overlook its shortcomings. As a sum of its parts, Black Myth Wukong is a wickedly fun experience, and undoubtedly worth your time and money, but only if you can enjoy it for what it is. An action-packed, combat-focused adventure with a sprinkle of RPG mechanics to finish it off. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, but most importantly of all, stay nerdy.